Hey, what's up, everybody? In this video, I want to talk about the two kind of key principles of spinal mechanics that I think everyone should know. And then once you know, it'll help you whether or not you're a physical therapist or a lay person just trying to learn more about how to move healthily through the spine. The first one is that our spine, from the very top cervical vertebrae down to the sacrum, they get bigger and bigger, almost like a long, slender pyramid. And that is key because we have less stability up here, and then as the vertebrae get bigger and bigger as they go down, it creates more stability and a stronger, solid base for the spine position. And that's key because our center of mass or our base of support comes from just below our belly button. So about an inch lower than our navel is right where our center of mass is. And so we want bigger, bony, structural vertebrae in that area to provide more support, to anchor the forces of more movement. And we want relatively less up top because that gives us more mobility and more flexibility to be more dexterous with things. That's the first key principle. So it's if you look at the vertebrae in the neck, they're a little bit smaller. And as you go down, 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 all the way through the lumbar, the low back vertebrae, they get bigger like a long, slender pyramid. That's the first key principle. The second one is that we are born or we develop with the forces of gravity into an S-shaped curve of the spine. And that is a sinusoidal curve. That S-shaped curve of the spine allows the most degrees of freedom, and it allows for the springiest movement of the spine and movement throughout the entire spine. If you are slouched for a long time throughout the day, that starts to pull the middle back into a flex position, and it excessively rounds that natural curvature, natural S curve. If you're excessively rounded in one area, it takes away from the mechanics above and below in the other areas. Now, someone might say, well, that extra thoracic kyphosis has never been shown to be related to pain. That's true on a day-to-day level. We can't say that it directly does, but what we do know is that it changes the mechanics of how your neck moves and how the low back moves. So when I'm flexible and strong throughout the entire spine, I can bend forward and backwards, I can side bend, I can rotate, and the pieces all like a puzzle all work together and move and curve as those actions happen. Now, if you lose some of that curvature, then it takes away the degrees of freedom elsewhere. So if I am always over to one side, it's going to limit how much I can rotate, or it's going to limit how much I can open up the other way. So the actions in one area directly feed into the actions of other areas. And that's why having a sinusoidal shape of the spine is really important. And that's why being flexible throughout your entire spine and being able to control that flexibility is really important. When we mesh all of these pieces, those two pieces together, the pyramidal shape of the spine and the springy sinusoidal curve, the S-shaped curve, that's where we can really leverage the maximum capacity out of the spine. And that's where the it's good and healthy to round and bend through your spine. That's where we can accept a ton of load through our spine. But it's when we start losing the efficient transfer of energy, certain areas of the spine take on a lot more force, and that predisposes those areas to a higher risk of injury. So, in your own daily life, think about how to get full spinal mechanics and movement. I think about that when I go down into a squat position. I think about that as I'm doing cat-cow movements to make sure I can flex and extend fully through the spine. And then also think about the core as our central base of support and being able to be strongest in that area where our bony structure matches that strength is going to help the arms and the legs and so the extremities work at a more functional, higher level, optimal level, because we're maximizing these two principles.